Have you ever felt it? That strange silence from someone who once made you feel seen? One day they're warm. They notice the little things. They look at you like there's something they want to say, but can't. And then suddenly, they become cold. Their replies get shorter. Their eyes don't stay on you for as long. Their energy changes. And you start asking yourself the question that hurts more than you want to admit. Did I imagine it? But what if you didn't? What if their coldness isn't rejection? What if it's fear wearing a mask? Because sometimes the person who acts the most distant is the one trying hardest not to feel anything at all. When someone likes you, you expect them to come closer. You expect effort, attention, consistency. You expect them to make it obvious. But human emotions are rarely that clean. Sometimes attraction doesn't make a person open up. Sometimes it makes them panic. Because liking you means you suddenly have power. Power to affect their mood, power to make them overthink, power to hurt them without even trying. And for someone who is afraid of being vulnerable, that kind of power feels dangerous. So instead of moving toward you, they step back. Not because they feel nothing, but because they feel too much. They might act cold because your presence unsettles them. You walk into a room and suddenly they become aware of themselves. How they look, how they sound, what they say, what you might think. They rehearse words in their head, then say nothing. They want to look calm, so they look detached. They want to hide their nervousness, so they become quiet. They want to seem unaffected, so they act like they don't care. But the truth is, the body often reveals what the mouth tries to bury. They may avoid eye contact, not because they dislike you, but because looking at you makes them feel exposed. They may tease you, ignore you, or suddenly become formal because being sincere feels too risky. They may talk easily to everyone else, but with you, they become guarded. And that difference matters. Because indifference is usually consistent, but fear is not. Fear creates mixed signals. Warm one day, cold the next, close in private, distant in public, interested when you pull away, unavailable when you move closer. And this is where it becomes confusing, because you're not dealing with someone who doesn't feel. You're dealing with someone who doesn't know what to do with what they feel. There is a kind of person who becomes cold the moment things become real. They can flirt when it feels safe. They can joke when there is no pressure. They can show interest from a distance. But the moment emotional intimacy begins to form, they retreat. Because now it's not just attraction. Now there's a possibility. And possibility is terrifying to someone who has been hurt before. They may have learned somewhere in their past that caring too much leads to pain. Maybe they opened up once and were embarrassed. Maybe they trusted someone who left. Maybe they were made to feel needy, weak, or foolish for wanting love. So now when they start liking someone, their first instinct is not to reach out. Their first instinct is to protect themselves. And protection can look a lot like coldness. They may tell themselves, don't get too attached. Don't show too much. Don't be the one who cares more. So they create distance before you can. They act like they are in control because inside, they feel anything but controlled. And the colder they seem, the more they may be trying to convince themselves that you don't matter. But here's the painful part. Sometimes they want you to notice. They pull away, but secretly hope you'll come closer. They act unbothered, but check whether you still care. They ignore you, but listen for your voice. They pretend not to look, but somehow always know where you are. Not because they are cruel, but because they are conflicted. Part of them wants connection. Another part is terrified of what connection might cost. So they send signals in two directions at once, come closer. No, stay away. Notice me. No, don't see me too clearly. I like you. But please don't make me admit it. And if you are on the receiving end of this, it can feel addictive because inconsistency creates obsession. Your mind starts searching for patterns. You replay every conversation, every glance, every delayed reply, every small moment where they seemed softer. You hold on to the warmth because the coldness makes it rare. And rarity can feel like value, but you have to be careful because someone's fear may explain their behavior, but it does not excuse the pain they cause. Yes, they may like you. Yes, they may be scared. Yes, their distance may be a defense mechanism. But you still deserve clarity. You still deserve kindness. You still deserve someone who does not make you feel like you have to earn basic warmth. Because love that is hidden too well can become indistinguishable from rejection. And at some point, your heart stops asking, "Do they like me?" and starts asking, "Why does liking me feel like this?" That question matters because sometimes we romanticize emotional unavailability. We turn coldness into mystery, silence into depth, confusion into chemistry. We tell ourselves, "They're just afraid." And maybe they are. But fear is only meaningful if they are willing to face it. A person who likes you but refuses to show care can still leave you lonely. A person who feels deeply but acts distant can still make you feel unwanted, and you should not have to become a detective just to feel loved. Still, there are signs that their coldness may be hiding attraction rather than absence. Watch for contrast. Are they distant with everyone, or only strangely guarded with you? Watch for awareness. Do they notice details about you they pretend not to care about? Watch for tension. Does the energy shift when you enter the room? Watch for inconsistency. Do they pull away when things feel emotionally close, then come back when the distance feels too real? Watch for softness in small moments. A quiet favor, a protective reaction, a look that lasts 1 second too long before they remember to look away. Because sometimes people reveal their feelings in the spaces between their defenses. Not in what they say, but in what slips through. But even then, you must ask yourself, is this enough for me? Not, do they like me? Not, are they afraid? Not, can I decode them? But, is this connection making me feel safe? Because the right person may be nervous. They may be shy, they may be scared, but they will not leave you endlessly questioning your worth. Someone can be afraid and still try. Someone can be guarded and still be respectful. Someone can struggle with vulnerability and still communicate honestly. Coldness becomes dangerous when it turns into emotional control. When they give you just enough warmth to keep you hoping, but never enough truth to let you rest. And maybe the hardest truth is this. Some people do like you, but they are not ready to love you properly. They like the feeling of you. They like your attention. They like the possibility. But they are not ready for the responsibility that comes with being close to someone's heart. And that is not your fault. You cannot love someone into emotional courage. You cannot prove your worth enough to make them stop running. You cannot keep shrinking your needs just because someone else is afraid of feeling theirs. So if someone acts cold when they actually like you, understand the psychology, see the fear, recognize the defense, notice the hidden tension, but do not abandon yourself inside their confusion. Because the goal is not to be chosen by someone who hides their heart. The goal is to be loved by someone brave enough to show it. And maybe one day they will realize what they were doing. Maybe they will understand that their silence sounded like rejection, that their distance felt like punishment, that while they were protecting themselves from being hurt, they were hurting you. But until then, you have to choose peace over guessing, because love should not feel like standing outside a locked door, listening for footsteps that may never come. It should not make you beg for warmth from someone who keeps pretending they are cold. And if someone truly likes you, eventually they must decide whether their fear is stronger than their feelings. Because feelings hidden forever do not become love. They become regret. And you deserve more than being someone's secret almost. You deserve someone who may be scared, but still reaches for you. Someone who may not have all the right words, but does not leave you freezing in silence. Someone who understands that love is not proven by how intensely it is felt in private, but by how gently it is shown when it matters. So the next time someone acts cold, when you sense they might actually like you, don't immediately assume you imagined everything. Maybe you saw something real. Maybe they did feel it too. But remember this: a hidden feeling can explain the distance. It cannot replace the effort. And no matter how much someone likes you, you are allowed to walk away from what keeps making you feel alone.